Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. Today we'll be learning how to make this shoulder dart bustier sundress. So I used the shoulder dart to achieve the bustier cut, and I used a cotton fabric for this dress. You can use any fabric of your choice. So I've already gone to draft the basic measurements, the bust point, chest line, under bust and half length. So for the neckline, I'm using 6 inches for the depth, and then I'm using 4.5 inches for the width. Now I'm going to be dividing my shoulder into two because it's a shoulder dart bustier. I will divide my shoulder into two. Now I'll come and mark from the bust point. I'll mark my nipple to nipple point. Now as I'm coming down, I'm going to be slanting it. So if my nipple to nipple point is 4 inch, when I'm coming down to the half length, I'll reduce it to 3.5. Then on that bottom part, I'm going to reduce it to 3, which is I'm going to reduce it to 3 or 2.5 to make it slant. So I'm just going to have, it depends on how slant you want it to be. So I just reduced mine with 1/2 inch. Now I'm also going to reconnect from the shoulder to the bust point as well. Now for the under bust tightening, I'm using 1.5 on both sides. If the person is not that busty, you can use 1 inch on both sides if the person is not that busty. Now I'm going to be taking one inch on both sides for the shoulder dart, and then I'll reconnect it to the bust point. Like I said, if the person is not so busty, you can use 0.75 on both sides. Now I'm going to be reconnecting my darts. So on the half length, I'll bring back down the 1.5 and 1.5 that I used on both sides, but I'm going to now slant it from the half length down to touch these bottom lines that I made there initially. This is to ensure that you have that slant line. So after that, I'm going to divide my shoulder into two. I'll go in by 1/2 inch to get my armhole cuff. I'm just going to rule that straight line, and now I'm going to be taking my bust measurements. So I'll divide my bust into 4, and then I'll mark what I have. I'll check for what I used, what is on that part of the darts. What I have there is 1/2 inch, and I'll mark it there as well, and then I'll add my seam allowance. I'll do the same thing for the under bust. Now you can carry your measurements, mark what you have there, carry it over and jump over the darts and mark what you have, or you can just mark everything entirely, add your darts, then add what the allowance you took out for your dart, then add your seam allowance. So I'm just trying both methods, marking what I have on my dart and adding it as well before adding my seam allowance. Or you can just mark what you have in the first place and then skip over your darts, take the tape rule to the parts where you have your second line and measure what you have there. Whichever method is totally fine. I'm just using both of them to cross check again to make sure that I have the same. So now I'm going to come down by 1 inch from the waistline. That is where I'm going to be starting my curve from. Now you can start the curve for the flare at exactly waistline. Now I connected my shoulder to my armhole cuff. Now for the shoulder dart, I'm not replacing back the 1 inch that I took out for my shoulder dart allowance because it's a sleeveless dress, so there's no point replacing it. Now for the half length, from this part that I came down by 1 inch, I'm just going to open up the gown at that point because I'm using this full length of the paper for my gown length. If you want yours to be shorter or longer or however you want it to be, you can use whichever length you choose. Now I'm just going to be reconnecting this thing now to away from these darts, like just 1 or 1/2 inch away from the darts. 1 inch is better from the dart. So just reconnect it like this because we are going to be slashing and spreading it and replacing it back to get the flare. Now I'm going to be cutting out my pieces that I've drafted out separately. I'm just going to be taking out the darts to get my pattern, taking out the dart and the neckline. Now you can use any neckline of your choice. I just chose to use that neckline. You can use any neckline of your choice. You can use any fabric of your choice for this dress as well. So now I'm cutting out the darts. Like I said, I'm not replacing it because it's a sleeveless dress. So now this part, I'm going to be taking it out separately to slash and spread it. Now you can spread it as much as you want on however big you want that flare on the side to be. you can also open it up more on the paper before slashing and spreading. Now I'm going to be drafting the back. Now for the back, I'll mark my neckline and the neck depth. So I'll just measure what I have on the front shoulder to be able to mark out the shoulder for the back as well, so that it's going to be equal to the front. Now that neckline there is just for a guide. It's not what we're going to be using. The back is going to be open. So now I'm going to divide my neckline, my shoulder into two as well, and connect to just form my shoulder dart. If you don't want to use this shoulder dart on the back, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. You can just connect your back and just do only your waist dart. But I just wanted to use it, so I just used 1/2 inch on both sides for the back, and then I did my waist dart as well. Now connect my shoulder slope, and then I'll do my armhole curve. I'm just going to insert my bust measurement divided by 4, add my seam allowance, and then I will connect my armhole curve. For my waistline, I will also add my waist measurements, add the dart allowance and my seam allowance as well. Then I'll reconnect as well. Then I came down by 1 inch, the way I came down for the one for the front. Mind you, this part is going to be having a zip. The middle of that part is going to be having a zip. So when you want to transfer, we're going to add a zipper allowance. Now for the opening, I'm just going to determine how deep I want it to be. There's going to be a rope on that part, so this part is going to be open. This part I shaded is going to be open. So if you want yours to be very wide, you can make it as wide as you want, but it shouldn't be too wide, so your whole back is not that exposed. So now I'm just going to do the same thing that I did for the front. So we're going to separate the parts, because we're going to be having a zip at that part, so we're still going to come in by 1 inch the way we came by at the front. So this is the back. It's going to be in a lot of pieces, so I wrote there that I will be adding a zipper allowance as well. This part that we curved is going to be the part that we're going to be slashing and spreading. So now I'm going to extend this dart down, because it's going to be in one piece. I forgot to extend it down from the waist, so I'm just going to cut off the back opening, and then I'll cut this whole part out. Then I'll extend this dart down so that it's going to be in one piece. So now by the time we've cut out the dart, it's going to be in just one piece. Now this whole part is going to be in one piece, and then when we've slashed and spread the sides, we are going to just attach them together, and by that time we should have joined the front and the back pieces together as well. So now I'm just going to be marking out my slash and spread lines. You can mark it as much as you want, but I just use 1 inch each to just open it up. If you have enough fabric, only for this particular project I use just 3 yards. If you have enough fabric, you can mark it as open as you want, and it depends on your size as well. So I just slashed and spread it, and then I will transfer it to a fresh paper to just spread it out. Make sure that when you finish spreading, the part that is supposed to be on the side, when you want to spread it on your fabric, the part that is going to be on your side, make sure that it is unfold, make sure that it is closed, make sure it is not open. Well, you see what I mean by the time I'm sewing, because it's supposed to be one piece covering, just pleated all around. So make sure that it is not slashed open. By the time I get there, you understand what I mean. So this is how I'm just spreading it. You can determine how wide you want your slash lines to be, if you want your spread lines to be. If you want it to be, make sure that you roll the lines very straight first of all, so that you are going to be placing each of the paper on the same line, so some don't jump up and some don't remain in a certain different place. Because if you don't place it on a straight line, you are going to be having the fabric, the pieces, the pleats, some are going to be jumping up, some are going to be down, some are going to be short, some parts are going to be short. So make sure that you rule a straight line, and then you use that straight line to spread out all the pieces. Now this is what I will do for everything. Notice I just cut the last part, I just cut it straight up. So now I'm just trying to plait it to just see that, to just cut out the excess out of it. I'm just trying to follow the shape of the pleats to cut out the excess. Now you repeat this thing for both sides. You know there are two, and it's going to be on fold by the time you want to cut it on. Now I'm already gonna to cut out my fabrics, and I cut out this rope that I'll be adding on that side. And you notice I gave my zip allowance at that middle part of the back. Now this is the front, so I'll just go and interface everything, and then I've already interfaced it already. Then I'll start sewing. You can use any interface of your choice. You can use stay, you can use paper stay. Now for the pleated part, I'm going to be folding my fabric because there's no joining on the sides, so I'll just place the already slashed part, this thing. So now this part is going to, the longer part is what I'm going to be flipping over to be on the folded parts, because the smaller part is the part that is going to connect to the front. So now I'm just going to cut it. Like I said, you can make yours fuller than this, but I just use 3 yards. So now for this dress, I'm replicating this thing on a lining. If you want to have a lining, you can do exactly what you did here on a lining, because I'm going to be using the lining to flip it over when I'm done. But if you don't want to use a lining, you can simply just stitch your fabric like that while I'm using a lining. So I'm cutting for the other side as well. So I'm just going to be using the same fabric to cut for the other side. So now I already interfaced my fabric before cutting, but I just want to add a little bit of wording to the bust part, so that I won't need to wear it with a bra since it's going to be an open back. So I'll just put like 3 layers of this ST. I'm using this black ST because I'm using a black fabric. You can use the white ST as well. I'm going to be using a lining, so it's still not going to show. Like I said, you can do yours with a lining and you can do it without a lining, but I'm using a lining. So everything that I'm doing here, I'll replicate it on the lining, except the padding of the bust. I'm not replicating padding of the bust on the lining. I'm just replicating the same cutting and all of that. So I just added like 3 layers of ST. This is ST, but it's the black color. I'm just adding like 3 layers to just help it hold my bust firm. But if you can wear yours without a bra, or if you are using a thick fabric and you don't want to line it, then it's fine. But I'm going to be using a lining to cover everything. So like I said, the lining is the same as what I've done on the main fabric, except the padding. So I just marked out the parts that I'm padding for the side of the bust here as well, and I'll do the same. Now I'll just proceed to sew. I'll just go and sew the bustier, the sides to the middle, all of them. I'll just make sure I sew everything to align together to have one piece. I'm also going to repeat this sewing process for the lining as well. So my lining is just a plain fabric. I didn't add any interface or anything, but I'm going to repeat the whole sewing process that I did here on the lining. So I've joined the front. Now I'll go ahead and join the back. The back, I added my zipper allowance. I'm marking where my zip is going to start from, then I'll sew the remaining part down. Now I've sewn that part down. I'm going to be sewing my zip on the zipper allowance. Now this is the part where I'm sewing my zip on. Now I fix my zip on the back. I'm just going to join the sides of the back to the sides like this part. I'll repeat the same for the other side as well. Now I'll go over to my ironing table to iron everything very well. By the time I've gotten there, you understand what I mean. So now this is the bustier part and this is the back. So I'll just iron everything very well, and then I'll go ahead and join the sides by the time I'm done. So I'm ironing the bustier part of my front. I'm just rushing through this part. I have detailed tutorial on how to make bustiers and how to iron your bustiers to have a firm look on my channel. So I guess I will insert those clips in my description box just in case you are interested. I just had to rush through these ones. If you want a detailed tutorial on how to pad your bustiers or how to sew bustiers, I'll put the links in my description box. So now after this, I'm going to be joining the rope. I would suggest you bring this rope lower, like very close to the zip part, because I took mine higher and it wasn't as good as I expected it to be, but it was manageable. So now I've already joined the shoulders. Now what I'm going to do now is to pleat this thing all the way around on that part of the waist. Now, like I said, I've already joined the rope on the back. Now I've already joined the sides as well. So now I'm going to go to the machine and pleat this all the way through on the curve part. Now I've done it and this is what I have. Now that my lining part is what I'm going to be using to flip this whole dress all over. The rope, I'm just going to join it. I'll join it on my sewing machine. Like I said, please bring your rope very low. It should be as low as the part where you have your zip. It's going to be more beautiful that way. I took mine higher. It's also fine, but if you like it high, you can leave it at that position. But I think if I had taken it lower, it would have been more beautiful. Now this is where I'm just going to stitch my rope on. I just stitched it because I'm going to be flipping it over with my lining. If you are not using a lining, you can weave and fold it inside. As you are going to be folding the back part, you can weave and fold it in as well. But I'm using a lining, so I'm just going to be stitching it on top. Now that I've added my rope, I'm just going to be flipping, using my lining now to turn everything. I'll first of all start with the neckline. because it's usually difficult to turn a dress that has like a sleeveless dress with a lining. So what I'll do is I'll first of all turn the neckline. I'll start from that shoulder part, and then I'll run it all the way to the neckline. Now I'm going to turn it all the way to the back as well. The part that has the rope, I'm just going to tuck the rope inside, and then I'm going to sew on top of the part that I stitched. If it is too difficult at that point, you can cut it and then you pass through the bottom. Now I'm going to notch all the neckline. I've sewn it to the part where I've passed the part where I have the rope. Now I'm just going to notch the neckline and flip it over and iron it. Now this part, we still have our other part of the sleeve to turn. You can either stitch it down and fold it in, or use a bias to turn it in if you don't want this armhole, if you don't want to stress yourself too much. But if you want to follow the other method, now I'm going to just hold it this way like this, and I'll look for a tiny part now to flip it, and then I'll be sewing it gradually. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip it like this. It's going to be a bit difficult. That's why I say you can stitch it and just fold it in. I'll just flip it this way, and then I'll start sewing it gradually. If I sew it to an extent, I will just free it and then I'll fold to a certain part, and that is how I'll sew it all through. Once you are able to pass the mid part of the shoulder, you can take it from under the gown to just turn it. But with this method, you have to do it gradually. I'm using my hemming gum as I'm sewing. It's going to be very, very, very tight. That is why I say you sew it to an extent and then you let it go and bring a little part of it and then you sew again. If you don't want to go through this whole stress, you can simply stitch it down with the lining and then fold it in and just sew on top. Now I've brought it out. I will look for another place now to the part that is closer. Now I'll just flip it in again and then I'll sew. This is it. I'll just flip it in again and then I'll sew. But you can just, now I've gotten the allowance that I need. I can turn it from the other parts. So that's what I just did. I just turned it. I've already sewn past the difficult parts. The most difficult part is the part where you have your shoulder line. It's very difficult to sew, but you can do it. So I'll just continue with my sewing. I'm cutting out every excess so that it doesn't swell. Now I've already successfully turned it. Now this is what we have. Now I'm going to tuck everything in, remaining this open part of this back. I'm just going to be doing it gradually from there because it's still close to the arm and it's a bit tight. So I'll just be sewing it, flipping it like this, sewing it gradually till I get to the part that is free, because that part is still a bit connected to the hand. as I proceed to the back, it's going to be much more free because there's more allowance there. Now I'm just going to be turning my zipper as well and cut out the excess. I'm just going to be flipping this over, although you can do this from the bottom. Since the bottom is open, you can do it from the bottom. Mind you, my lining is 3 inches shorter than my main dress, so I made my lining exactly the same as my dress, but it's 3 inches shorter. So now I'm just going to be cutting out the zip and flipping it back. By the time I'm done, I'll just go to my ironing table and make sure that I iron everything out smoothly. Now I'm going to close the other part of the zip as well. Like I said, you can also pass through the bottom to close it. If it's not too difficult, you can also pass through the bottom to close it. I'll stitch my zip, cut out the excess, and do the same thing. I just tuck everything in. I'll go and iron everything smoothly on my sewing machine. Everything is neatly covered. I'll go and iron everything neatly on my ironing table, then I'm done. Just fold the bottom part of the gown, and this is what we have. Thank you guys for watching. Please kindly like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.